YouTube Tuesday, February 18th, and this is Redneck Hobbies. Wanted to make a quick video about why I carry small, medium, and large knives, which I've never addressed. The one I did a while back, really, I was going over every blade I had. Don't use most of them. I just have some extras, I guess, but obviously there's even a few here. But these are ones I actually do use on a regular basis. Some I found I'm not using as much, but I wanted to go over why I carry each one. And I'll start with these, the small ones for just your pocket, like most people carry. I might use them for my steak if where I'm at only has plastic knives, or I don't like the knives they have. Maybe they don't have a knife to cut your food with. I have my pocket knife. I try to keep it clean, and if it's not, there's usually soap nearby to wash it off before I use it to cut my steak or something. I've been camping where I don't have the tent stakes, or I'm just missing a tent stake or two. I can carve one out of sticks from the woods. That works quite well. They're good for that. Sometimes I use them for prying batteries out. It's usually handy when you just don't want to walk across the room for scissors or the screwdriver to pry or whatever. It's little things, and it's just easier to pull something out of your pocket. When my car door is frozen, not everybody would recommend it, but sometimes in a pinch, I have a frozen car door in the winter. I pry it open with a knife. Removing splinters, of course, little marshmallow sticks, like pumpkins, things that most people think of, I guess, but onto like some of these other ones, like at work, the issue was these this is a nicer version that was like a handout at a convention or something. I got at the gun show that they had from wherever they got it from, by Charade, I think he said. It's basically the same as those like knives they sell with the clay stuff at the craft store. It's like a craft knife, but I don't like them much because usually the ones at work are dull. And that one, I'd use it at work, except it doesn't come with a proper sheath. So, I wanted a Kydex for it. Kydex is expensive. I just ended up using my old Mora at work, but it's been used for almost 10 years now, and I thought, it needs replaced. It's wearing thin on the width of it, but, I got myself a K-bar Mark I. Not a K-bar, but it's basically the same. It's a SP1 Mark I, which has the pommel for like hammering tent stakes in, which is handy, of course, but sometimes nails when there's no hammer, but it's good for popping innertubes at work. It's also useful for like prying stickers that are kind of stuck somewhere where I need to take the stickers off. I use it for opening up my earplugs because it's hard to rip open plastic that stretches instead of rips. It's mostly just a cool factor, I suppose. It's a little overkill, but this other one was getting pretty old. So, this one's still under 5 inches, though, so it's more legal. Work just kind of turns the other way a little bit, but, this one, now I got into the large knives. They say they're good for splitting firewood and stuff, but that's mostly what large knives are good for, I found, and I've used it a little. I don't know if you could see on camera, but it's got some wear and tear on it. The handles have been banged a little. When I'm not when I'm not worried about scaring people with a big knife, like in my backpack or just in the car, maybe I'm going for a hike, I can carry some of these larger ones around, which, by the way, this isn't in Ontario, as is this one. And this one, I just like them. I found this one at Cabela's, this at a pawn shop. Actually, the gun show. This one at a pawn shop. This is a cleaver. These are definitely better for hard wood when you just can't carve into something, like you're trying to make a wedge for logs. I'm just trying wooden wedges just for the sake of it, in case I need to carve one in a survival situation to split wood, and all I have is a smaller blade like that. You need to carve stuff, make tools, but this is easier to cut into stuff like that with. Kind of a catch-22 maybe, but it's heavy, and I definitely love this thing, but it's not always practical to carry, and I'm usually not doing stuff like that anyway. Still, everybody's got to have some big ones when you start to collect knives. It's like, oh, I got to have the big knife. People use these, I guess they're a roofing bar. This one was sold as like a demolition tool, but Ontario makes their own version, which I find these from the hardware store that aren't made by Ontario are a lot cheaper. And I have trouble getting an edge on it. I need to take it to my sander to get that edge right. But some of the stuff I've done is carving this, I think it's a Kuxa or noggin. One is used with a burl, the other kind is carved with a cut of wood, of course. It's just carving it into a little, like a mug. And I use this knife here. It's just one of those little pocket carving knives for like a beginner wood carver. It's got that spoon blade there and everything. But sometimes I carry that if I just think I'm going to do some whittling on a certain day, like at the park. When I do my paracord crafts, anything with string where I'm undoing knots, I have this navy knife. I think that's a sheep's foot blade, but they're good for straight cuts on paper, things like that. I find them useful sometimes. I couldn't get the handle redone proper. I just put plumber's putty on it. But maybe I'll take it off and get some bone on it or whatever one day. Another EDC one, because I didn't go over these much. These 18th century dollar store knives, well, penny knives, are very nice. It's open L, in case you don't know, but these lock rings are against that wood that can split that wood with so much stress on that locking mechanism over time. And so I thought, I'm going to try a cleaver knife. And this one I've used at work, but folders get gummed up. And this one at least more so. And there's different locking mechanisms. I just started going with the sheath knives because of that problem. They can take the dirt and the grease. But at work, I have also used this one in the past. There were times when I needed to cut holes in cardboard boxes. This saw was handy, but it was a little short, so I eventually got one of these with a utility knife that doesn't scare people. But I changed out the knife and put my own saw inside that I cut with a Dremel from a oscillating saw blade, I guess. And it's actually worked quite well in the past. I don't need it anymore. There's no need. But I mean, what else? Have I gone over everything? I think so. It's just I have my mallet for batoning with some of these larger knives. And I don't know. These are my knives, so thank you for watching.